Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video I am going to be giving you an update on some more transfer news, keep you up to date what players are linked with Manchester United. So these quite a few topics to delve into. I'm going to be talking with you a bit more about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, like I've been doing on a regular basis. Also going to be giving you a bit more additional information on Kalidou Koulibaly. And I think I'm also going to be talking with you a bit more about Paul Pogba. So like I mentioned, there's lots to get into. And I think a bit later on in the video as well, I'm going to, go through with you, I think, the best players, that Manchester United have had in the Premier League era. So I'll get into that a bit later on. So we will start with the news anyway on Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. So reportedly, Aubameyang has asked Arsenal to let him leave the club because obviously, Arsenal have come to accept the fact that Aubameyang does want to leave. I think Arsenal, have been trying to convince him to sign a new deal, but Aubameyang, is refusing to sign a new deal with Arsenal. Now, obviously, Arsenal would want to cash in for Aubameyang this summer, rather than letting go on a free transfer in the summer of 2021. Because, in the summer of 2021, that's when Aubameyang's current contract expires with Arsenal. Now, I think Aubameyang has confirmed he's willing to listen to offers from Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Manchester United. But it does remain uncertain at the moment, where Aubameyang's next club will be. I think actually, Barcelona have been long admirers of him. Now, I think Arsenal do rate Aubameyang at around £50 million, but it did confirm, was it the other week, that actually, Arsenal had lowered their asking price by around £15 million. So maybe now you could get Aubameyang maybe in the 30 odd million pound range. Maybe you could get him for like £35 million. Now, I definitely take Aubameyang at Manchester United. I do really like him. He's well proven in that in the Premier League. Aubameyang has enjoyed 2 years with Arsenal, just over 2 years with Arsenal. He's got 49 Premier League goals in 75 Premier League appearances, and I think he's got 61 goals in all competitions. Now, Arsenal, of course, I think they've got quite a few strikers on their agenda who could replace him. I was reading the Daily Star yesterday and it did say Luka Jovic from Real Madrid is one of the strikers on their agenda to replace Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. But yeah, and Arsenal did pay around, was it £56 million for him from Borussia Dortmund back in January 2018. So he's actually, one of Arsenal's most expensive signings is Aubameyang. And he's 30 years of age, is he, Aubameyang, so he is in his early 30s. But I've got to say, I thought Aubameyang enjoyed a good 5 years at Borussia Dortmund before he went to Arsenal. Obviously, he's played for Monaco and St Etienne in the past. He's also played for Lille. He actually, began his senior career in Italy, I think, with Milan, did the player. But I definitely take Aubameyang at Manchester United because, I think he'd be a good adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku because revert back to last summer, Romelu Lukaku left Manchester United and obviously, we didn't get an adequate replacement for him. Also, too, Herrera left last summer and, we didn't get a replacement for Herrera in our midfield. We didn't get a replacement for him. And, don't forget, Manchester United have done business with Arsenal in the past. Don't forget we got Alexis Sanchez from them back in January 2018 as part of a swap deal of Mkhitaryan going to Arsenal. Obviously, Sanchez enjoyed a difficult 18 months at Man United. And obviously, he didn't. When we signed him, we thought he'd have been an exceptional signing, but obviously, he wasn't. Didn't rediscover the form that he did at Arsenal and Barcelona. Obviously, I think Arsenal got Danny Welbeck from us, was it like 4 or 5 years ago now? And don't forget, we got Robin van Persie from Arsenal back in 2012. And Robin van Persie enjoyed a good season at Manchester United. You can say, reflecting on the amount of goals he'd scored in Alex Ferguson's last season, you can say that Robin van Persie had won Manchester United the title. He'd won Manchester United the title and that. But yeah, so there's been a few clubs that I've been in for Patrick-Emerick Aubameyang, but got to say I would definitely take him at Manchester United. There has been a few strikers on our agenda, like I mentioned, there's been like Timo Werner on our agenda. Obviously, Erling Haaland's on our agenda. It's a shame that we didn't get Erling Haaland back in January because, like I mentioned, I think he would have been an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer type signing, would Erling Haaland. Also, too, Harry Kane's on our agenda. But like I mentioned, there's much cheaper solutions than Harry Kane. And I'm just very, very sceptical that Manchester United will pay up to £200 million for Harry Kane. Don't forget, we've got the option to get Odin Igalo on a permanent transfer. It's not a fully assured yet, that we're going to get Odin Igalo on a permanent transfer. It's been revealed how much it's going to cost us to get him permanently. It will cost us around £15 million to get Odin Igalo on a permanent transfer. So he's a cheap solution, is Odin Igalo, but I think if he'd been like 4 or 5 years younger, it'd cost us quite a lot more than £15 million. We've got Odin Igalo on loan at the moment. We paid around 3 or 4 million to get him on loan, and we're paying like a third of his wages. It did say recently Igalo will have to take a £200,000 pay cut if he wants to remain at Manchester United on a permanent basis. If he wants to stay at Man United on a permanent basis, that is. But yeah, he said the other week, Igalo, that he's not yet received an offer to extend his stay at the football club. So, yeah. But yeah, I'd take Aubameyang, definitely at Manchester United. And Aubameyang is predominantly a central striker. I think he can also play it out wide. So that's another beneficial thing, he can play in more than one position. But Aubameyang's runs on and off the ball are very, very good. He's got that clinical element. I think he's also very effective in the air. But Aubameyang's definitely, one of Arsenal's best players. I think, he's better when he's playing centrally, than out wide, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Obviously, Arsenal did recruit quite a few players in, didn't they, last summer. They got the likes of Kieran Tierney in for 25 million from Celtic. They got Dani Ceballos in from Real Madrid on loan. I think the last time I read about that, it said it was very unlikely that Arsenal were going to get Dani Ceballos on a permanent transfer. They also got David Luiz. I think William Saliba's also set to join them when the transfer window does reopen from St Etienne. They also they got Nicolas Pepe last summer from Lille for £70 million, was it? I think he's Arsenal's most expensive signing. But these signings came in, of course, when Arsenal had Unai Emery. Obviously, they sacked Unai Emery last year after he enjoyed 18 months at Arsenal. They've obviously got Arteta in now. He recruited a few players in January, didn't he? He got Pablo Mari from Flamengo. I think they got him on loan. Do Arsenal have the option to make their loan permanent? And they also got Cedric Soares from Southampton. He's another signing that Arsenal made. I think they also got him on loan. So yeah, they are looking to make more investment at Arsenal, and obviously, looking to sell more players. I don't think they'd want to sell Aubameyang, but they've come to accept the fact now that he does want to leave. There was rumours earlier on in the season saying they're planning to get rid of Aubameyang and Lacazette. Of course, Arsenal got Lacazette from Lyon, and I think it did say they're also planning to get rid of Mesut Ozil. But yeah, so that's the latest news on Aubameyang. He's asked Arsenal if he can leave, but to be quite honest with you, I don't think he'll come to Manchester United. I'm very, very sceptical that will happen. I don't think he'll continue playing his trade in the Premier League. I think he'll either go to Real Madrid or possibly go to Barcelona. I think PSG have been in for him before, but we shall see. So that's the news on Patrick-Emerick Aubameyang. Now, let's just give you a bit of news on Kalidou Koulibaly. I updated you about Kalidou Koulibaly, didn't I, a couple of days ago. Now, according to the Napoli chairman, he's come out and said that Napoli, will agree to sell Kalidou Koulibaly. That's providing, if their £74 million asking price is met. Napoli have come out and said they want £74 million for Kalidou Koulibaly. Now, obviously, this was stemming from the Italian newspaper Sport a couple of days ago, and he did say, that Manchester United have been in constant contact with the Napoli president over the availability of Kalidou Koulibaly, so too of Manchester City, and so too of Paris Saint-Germain. Now, we've been relentlessly linked, with Kalidou Koulibaly. Don't forget, revert back to last summer. We was relentlessly linked with him. I think we had numerous bids turned down for the player. But revert back to last summer, Napoli, were not willing to offload Kalidou Koulibaly. And they basically, priced him out of last summer's transfer market. So, yeah, like I said, he's going to cost us in the £70-odd million range if we've got any chances of getting him when the transfer window does reopen. Like I mentioned, I'm very sceptical that Manchester United will sign a centre-half when the transfer market does reopen, because I think, there's other priority areas, that need strengthening up, like I mentioned, we need a centre forward, we need a right winger, we also need a holding midfielder, and so I don't think, we're going to get a centre half in. But I probably still believe that Kalidou Koulibaly will leave Napoli, because I think it did say last month that Koulibaly had made an admission and he told the Napoli president that he did want to leave, especially, if Napoli failed to qualify for the Champions League. Now, Kalidou Koulibaly has been a long-serving player in Italy with Napoli. He's now into his 6th season with them, and I think he's made around 233 appearances in all competitions, around 173 appearances in the Serie A alone. Napoli, would make a huge profit on the player, because Napoli only paid 6.5 million for him from Genk back in 2014. I think Kalidou Koulibaly still got around 3 years remaining on his contract with Napoli. He's under contract with them until 2023. Oh, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't say no to him, if there was a chance of him coming to Manchester United, because I think he'd go very, very well alongside Lindelof and Harry Maguire in our back line. But for us to get Koulibaly, we'll have to make him one of our most expensive signings. So he's probably going to cost slightly less, than Harry Maguire, because obviously, we paid £80 million for Harry Maguire. Obviously, Harry Maguire is the second most expensive sign at the club and the most expensive centre-half in the world. But as I said, we've got a lot of centre-halves in the team. You've got Maguire and Victor Lindelof that are our first-choice centre-halves. I've got to say, I've been impressed with Lindelof. I don't think he's on Maguire or Kalidou Koulibaly's or Van Dijk's level and that, but I've still been very, very impressed with him. You've got Lindelof now, that's into his 3rd season at the football club. Struggled for that consistency in his 1st season, but I think in the past 2 seasons, a lot of aspects of his game have really, really improved. You've got Bay and Tuanzebe that are our backups as well. They're our backups, yeah. I've got to say, since Bay's come back from injury, I think he's done very, very well. My only element of concern about Eric Bay is that he's very, very injury prone. Bay is now into his 4th season at Manchester United. And, Tuanzebe, he did well earlier on in the season. You obviously got Phil Jones. I think he's our 5th choice centre-half. He's one of the players that's expected to leave Manchester United when the transfer window reopens. So, you've got Smalling that's going to be going, I think. There's uncertainty over Smalling's future. So this is the main explanation why I may consider getting a centre-half in. And obviously, you've got Fosu Mensah that can also operate as a centre-half. But yeah, I would, take Kalidou Koulibaly at Manchester United. I think also Real Madrid have been in for him in the past. Yeah, but we have been in constant contact with the Napoli president over the availability of the player. And he's, 28 or 29 years of age now, so he's a highly experienced centre-half. He shows that ability to play out from the back. He's also very effective in the air. But yeah, so that's the latest news on Kalidou Koulibaly. So would you take him at Manchester United? Now, let's delve into the news on Paul Pogba. Now, do you think, Paul Pogba should stay at Manchester United, or do you think Paul Pogba should leave Manchester United? Now, this is a debate. Now, United fans have got different perceptions on Paul Pogba. Some United fans would be determined to keep Pogba, and some United fans, would let Paul Pogba go. Now, there was reports coming out regarding Paul Pogba yesterday, like he updated you on my video yesterday night, and it actually said that Paul Pogba is expected to sign a new contract with the club, and he can become the club's new leader. And this was actually stemming from the La Liga expert, can't pronounce his name, but he expects, Paul Pogba to sign a new contract at Manchester United. So maybe, Pogba will stay at Manchester United at least for another season. At least for another season he will stay at Manchester United. But like I mentioned, Paul Pogba has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Pogba's had a long-running transfer saga. He's had a long-running transfer saga. Since he rejoined the football club from Juventus back in 2016, Pogba's had a long-running transfer saga in that. Now, like I said, Paul Pogba's only played 8 times this season for Manchester United. His appearances have been limited due to his injuries. Now, don't forget, Paul Pogba, was talking on the United podcast a lot recently. He was talking about, his mother telling him, he'd always return to Man United because Paul Pogba did leave Man United for Juventus back in 2012. We had to let Paul Pogba go on a free transfer due to his limited appearances under Alex Ferguson. Also, too, don't forget, Paul Pogba recently, responded to the criticism that he had received from Graham Souness, because Graham Souness has been criticising Paul Pogba persistently. And obviously, it did confirm back in 2016, was it, that actually, Paul Pogba allegedly agreed to join Real Madrid, but we convinced him to come to Manchester United through social media, and we paid £89 million for the player. So as it stands at the moment, Paul Pogba is our most expensive signing. And he did actually reveal as a young one that, he was an Arsenal fan. I think the main explanation why he said he was an Arsenal fan is because, he loved Thierry Henry, and that did Paul Pogba. But Paul Pogba actually, give the main explanation why he left Man United, for Juventus, because I think his actual mother and his brother had advised him, to obviously, leave Manchester United back in 2012. So if recent reports are to be believed, it's looking like, Paul Pogba's remaining at the club. If Paul Pogba stays at Manchester United, maybe we won't even go in for a midfielder. But obviously, before all the football was suspended anyway, obviously, this Solskjaer had said this in his press conference building up to the last game. He actually, said that Paul Pogba will remain at Man United next season. Obviously, Solskjaer was reiterating at that point what Pogba was saying, because Pogba did reveal out about 3 or 4 weeks ago that he was interested in staying at Man United and he was interested in extending his stay at the football club. And one of the main explanations why he said he wanted to stay is because he believes he can form a good partnership with Bruno Fernandes, because Pogba is aware of the impact, that Bruno Fernandes has made. Bruno Fernandes has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. What has Bruno Fernandes got? Has he got 3 goals and 4 assists or something like that? 1 Premier League Player of the Month for February, reflecting on his good run of performances. You can definitely say Bruno Fernandes has definitely made the difference in the team. But him alongside Fernandes, would be absolutely fantastic from my own perception. Pogba and Fernandes in our starting lineup, obviously, I think Paul Pogba would probably play as a number 6, to be quite honest with you. Bruno Fernandes obviously, needs to stay in his predominant position, because if we was to, put Bruno Fernandes as a holding midfielder or central midfielder, that's when it could become a liability. But I think we'll keep Bruno Fernandes in his predominant position. Bruno Fernandes, obviously, revealed the other week, what convinced him to sign for Manchester United. And, it's because it reflects on the attitude of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So, obviously, Bruno Fernandes has got a lot of faith in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But if Paul Pogba, was to leave Manchester United, I think he'd either make a return back to Juventus, because he said the other week his first choice was Juventus, and like I said, Paul Pogba did enjoy 4 good years in Juventus. The vast majority of his performances at Man United, though, since he rejoined, have been totally comparison. If he wasn't to make a return to Juventus, I think he'd probably go to Real Madrid. Obviously, Real Madrid have been relentlessly linked with the player. Revert back to last summer, Real Madrid were relentlessly linked with him. His actual preference was a move to Real Madrid last summer. But the main explanation why his move to Real Madrid didn't materialise last summer was reflecting on the substantial amount we put on him. Because, last summer we said we wanted 180 million for Pogba. Real Madrid were not willing to meet that valuation. So this is why it didn't happen. Real Madrid are still looking to do more investment, despite the fact that they'd recommended 5 or 6 players in last summer and spent around, was it 200 or 300 odd million pounds. Don't forget, they're also looking to offload players. They're looking to offload James Rodriguez, who reportedly Man United have recently been in for, looking to offload Bale, looking to get rid of Dani Ceballos on a permanent transfer. Real Madrid. But, Paul Pogba, last year, don't forget, was talking a lot about Real Madrid, about his dreams of playing, under Zinedine Zidane. I think Paul Pogba's got a good relationship with Zinedine Zidane. Also, too, Mini Raiola. He's got a good relation with Real Madrid. And don't forget, Mini Raiola, Pogba's agent's been talking a lot since the turn of the year. Of course, Ed Woodward's had quite a few negotiations with Mini Raiola to try and resolve Paul Pogba's future. And we've been very critical of Mini Raiola, because he has made a lot of public attacks, a lot of public attacks against the club since the turn of the year. Obviously, Fabrizio Romano, he came out recently, not too long ago, and he actually said that Paul Pogba's got no intentions of buying out the remainder of his contracts for around 50 million, because there was reports saying that Pogba was going to take a FIFA transfer regulation to buy out the remainder of his contract, but obviously now that's not going to happen. But as it stands at the moment, Pogba's got 2 years left on his Man United contract, 1 year with an option of a further year. Don't forget, there has been swap deals on the agenda. Like I said, quite a few weeks ago, there was talks of Ramsey coming to Man United for Pogba going to Juventus. There's been talks of De Ligt coming to Man United as part of a swap deal of Pogba going to Juventus. De Ligt is another centre-half that has been on Manchester United's agenda. But yeah, Paul Pogba, could remain at the football club at least for another season. Don't forget, as well, Pogba, enjoyed a very, very difficult time under the Jose Mourinho era. But I think Paul Pogba still recently revealed, that he does want to leave Manchester United. But there has been a few players on our agenda who could replace him at the football club. Now, I think we said we want at least 100 million for him if he is to be sold in the summer. And, disregarding any swap deal, we want at least £100 million for him. But if we were to sell him, it's very imperative that we get more money, than what we actually paid for the player. That is very, very imperative indeed. And Pogba signed a new contract as well. I think he'd want to increase on his wages. He'd probably want to become the highest paid player. He's one of the highest paid players now, because I think he's on like 300 grand a week on his current contract. He's Paul Pogba. But so could remain at Manchester United. This is his 4th season, since he rejoined the club. He has won the Europa League and League Cup of us. That came in his first season at the football club. But maybe, qualifying for the Champions League could play a part in it. If we were to qualify for the Champions League, that maybe could then convince Pogba to stay. If we didn't get Champions League qualification, then maybe he will leave the football club. But yeah, so if these reports are to be believed in that, looking likely, Paul Pogba is going to be staying. But do you want him to stay, or do you want him to go? So that's the news on Paul Pogba. Obviously, yesterday, I obviously, give you the news, didn't I, on Jadon Sancho and that. Because, there was reports emerging out from the mainstream media saying that Borussia Dortmund last year wanted Mason Greenwood in a swap deal to sell Jadon Sancho. But, of course, this won't materialise because Man United are not willing to involve Mason Greenwood as part of any deal of getting Jadon Sancho to the football club, because we know how much of an imperative player that Mason Greenwood is. Like I mentioned, I think Mason Greenwood's enjoyed a fantastic season with Manchester United. This is his first full season, by the way, in the senior squad. Mason Greenwood made his full debut for the club in the 2-0 defeat to Cardiff at the end of last season. And I think Greenwood's got 12 or 13 goals in all competitions this season. He seldom starts in the Premier League, does Greenwood. But he tends to play more in the Cup and the Europa League games. Greenwood can play as a number 9, and he can also play on the right-hand side. And he's behind Rashford and Martial at the moment, but I think in next year he's going to emulate, to Rashford's level, and that probably will end up overtaking Marcus Rashford, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But I think, there's still a chance, that Manchester United can definitely sign Jadon Sancho. There's still a slight chance, though, that he could go to Chelsea, even though he recently ruled out making a move to Chelsea, did Jadon Sancho. Obviously, he's began his career in London, did Sancho. Don't forget, let's put that into the equation. He began his career in London. He also, he's a lifelong Chelsea fan. That's also been revealed. But I think Jadon Sancho has revealed that he does want to come to Manchester United. It did say we'll only sign Sancho on one condition, and that's if we get Champions League qualification for next season. But Sancho is going to cost us at least £100 million. Probably, we'll end up paying £120 million. But I think Sancho will go well alongside Rashford and Anthony Martial and that in our attacking line. So you know what's going on with Sancho. As you all know, David Ornstein as well as confirmed this, that Manchester United are no longer in for Jack Grealish because Ed Woodward's preference is to get a holding midfielder. So we're no longer now in for Jack Grealish because we've been relentlessly linked with Jack Grealish and that. So I give you obviously the news on that yesterday. I also give you the news on Saul Niguez. So yeah, that is all the transfer news to keep you up to date on. Now, I'm going to go through with you, the best players that I think Man United have had in the Premier League era. And, there is quite a lot. So, the best player I think we've had in the Premier League era is definitely, Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, of course, we got Cristiano Ronaldo from Sporting Lisbon, was it back in 2003, and we paid just over £12 million for his services. Now, Ronaldo, of course, endured 6 years at Manchester United. This was obviously under the Alex Ferguson era. He won the FA Cup in his first full season at the football club, did Ronaldo. Obviously, won 3 Premier League titles with the football club. Also won the Champions League with Manchester United. Obviously, Ronaldo, I think, scored 118 goals in 292 appearances for the club in all competitions. And I think he scored 84 goals in 196 Premier League appearances, did the player. But yeah, Ronaldo did enjoy a good 6 years at Manchester United. Of course, in 2009, we sold him to Real Madrid. But, we got 80 million for him. So we made a huge profit on the player because obviously, we only paid just over £12 million for him from Sporting Lisbon. But he is the best player we've had in the Premier League era, is Ronaldo. Another one of the best players we've had in the Premier League era, and that is Wayne Rooney. Of course, like I mentioned, Wayne Rooney endured 13 years at Manchester United. We got him from Everton back in 2004. I can't remember how much we paid. Was it around £20 million, if I can remember rightly? Something like that anyway. But we got him from Everton. And Rooney, of course, is the club's all-time leading goal scorer with 253 goals in all competitions. I think he scored around 183 goals in the Premier League, did Wayne Rooney. But yeah, what a fantastic player, he was. Obviously, when Wayne Rooney left Manchester United, of course, he went back to Everton. And like I said, it's very, very rare that players go back to their former clubs, but it does happen, but it is rare. Just like it's swap deals in the modern game are very, very rare. But he went back to Everton, and then when he went back to Everton, played against Manchester United. And then obviously, went to the MLS. He went to DC United after he left Everton. And of course, now he's player manager of Derby, is Wayne Rooney. And of course, don't forget, Wayne Rooney's played against us again at Derby because, we played Derby in the FA Cup, don't forget, before the football season that was suspended. So yeah, player manager at Derby. So Wayne Rooney was fantastic for us. Tevez, he's one of the best players we've had in the Premier League era. I think we got him from West Ham. I think, Tevez enjoyed a couple of years at Manchester United. Of course, then Tevez, went on to go to Manchester City because Tevez was demanding quite a bit more money from Manchester United, and Ferguson, was not willing to give him it. So he did go to Manchester City. Did Carlos Tevez and that. So yeah, but that's one of the best attacking trios that we've had anyway, is Ronaldo, Rooney and Tevez, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. So there, and there's more players as well. I think Vidic and Ferdinand, they're the best players, we've had in the Premier League era. There were 2 fantastic centre-backs, were Ferdinand and Vidic, I've got to be quite honest with you. Of course, Ferdinand was a long-serving player with the club. Ferdinand endured, was it 12 years at Man United? Got him in 2002 from Leeds. And, he was at the club until 2014 was Rio Ferdinand. So, yeah, he did very, very well. I also liked Nemanja Vidic, probably one of the best centre-backs we've probably had ever, or, for a lot of years, I've got to be honest with you. I thought also too, Gary Neville, he was a fantastic right-back for Manchester United, got to be honest. He was at the club for several years. Also, got to be honest, I think Ryan Giggs one of the best players we've had in the Premier League era. Giggs endured 24 years at Manchester United in total. Obviously, no one's made more appearances than Ryan Giggs at the football club. Ryan Giggs, I think, didn't he make like 900 appearances in all competitions, something like that, if I'm right. But yeah, what a fantastic player Ryan Giggs was. Ryan Giggs, by the way, he did manage Manchester United for a short period. Don't forget at that point he was the interim manager. I think he managed like 4 games, did Ryan Giggs. This was after, of course, David Moyes got sacked. So yeah, Giggs was very, very good player for us. Obviously, we know he was never going to work out as a manager because he's inexperienced as a manager. I think Scholes and Carrick, they were 2 very, very good players as well that we had. What a fantastic partnership, they were in our midfield. Carrick, I think, endured a good 12 years at the football club. He's still part of the club now because he's one of the coaching assistants, is Michael Carrick. I also liked Eric Cantona. I thought he was also very, very good in that. Edwin van der Sar, very, very good goalkeeper. We've had good goalkeepers up and down the generations. So yeah, we had Van Nistelrooy. Don't forget he was very, very good. So I think they're the best players we've had in the Premier League era. There's probably quite a few that I haven't currently mentioned. So that's the latest news on that. But like I mentioned, it's good that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has revealed his plans for when the transfer market does reopen. Like I mentioned, I think in total we've got like 14 players on our agenda. 14 players. But, the question is, which players are Man United going to sign? Solskjaer has revealed, he wants to make around 4 signings when the transfer market does reopen, because probably believes we need around 4 signings to become title contenders next season. But Solskjaer did recently say, didn't he? He insisted that we will exploit the transfer market when the transfer market does reopen. A lot of teams are under financial pressure across the world due to this coronavirus pandemic. So obviously, teams are going to have to sell some of their players to generate money. But I've got to say, we have improved in the transfer market under Solskjaer. But Solskjaer's got the backing of Ed Woodward, and he's also got the backing of the Glazers. So far, Solskjaer's been here 16 months. He's been here over the year, and he's enjoyed 3 transfer windows at Manchester United. And he has spent £220 million on 5 players. And I've got to credit him, for the players that he has brought in so far. Also, too, Solskjaer's got rid of a lot of the deadwood, since he got recommended in. So that's also another positive, because I think around 9 players have left in total since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended in. And Solskjaer's planning to get rid of around 5 or 6 players when the transfer market does reopen. So we are reflecting on that, our transfer budget will increase, definitely in that. But yeah, Solskjaer believes we can get the right calibre players to Manchester United when the transfer market does reopen. And all of that. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.